Welcome back to the Marching Arts Network. I am the Stress Master. Thank you all for joining us on this video. We truly appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for all your support. This is a fantastic year. I cannot wait until finals week. So I'm excited. So I did want to apologize because I just realized we did not post anything about our podcast. So we were supposed to have a podcast this weekend. I got really sick, like really bad sick. I am still recovering. You guys, if you watched my videos last week, you kind of saw me getting sick, but I got real bad over the weekend. Very COVID-like, but not COVID, so thank goodness for that. But now my wife is sick, so she got what I had. And Jen was busy with other stuff, and we just decided it was better just to kind of reschedule our guest. We have a special guest that we were going to bring on for this new weekend coming up. Hopefully that'll all work out. But I did want to get to the recaps because a lot has happened in this week. Holy moly. Cores are starting to kind of settle into their positioning, ranking, right, on their scores. Some are kind of slipping down a little bit. We're going to talk about all of that. But thank you guys so much. And let's just get right to it. So let me go ahead and switch on over to that. So the very first show we're going to look at, I think this is Broken Arrow. Sorry, Broken Arrow. And this is the first show that has been televised through Flow, where the Bluecoats got to perform. So I actually got to see them on Flow Marching. The other one was Rained Out in Whitewater, I think it was. But I'm going to be doing a reaction to Bluecoats unless it gets blocked. So hopefully we won't get blocked this time. But let's look at the scores here. So Bluecoats, really strong show with an 88.55. Carolina Crown, 85.6. Phantom Regiment right behind them with an 85.550. So literally 0.05. And we're going to look at the recaps here in just a second. Spirit of Atlanta, really strong, 77.1. A whole point over the Crossman. Music City, 74.8 and 71.7. I really like Music City's show. I really dig their show. They've always had really good show design to me. So I'm going to keep supporting Music City. I really like that group. Okay, so we also had Zephyrus, open class group, with a 65.4. I did not get to see them, because by the time I was able to get everything connected up and doing what I needed to do to watch Flow, I missed them. So hopefully I'll get to watch a video of them soon. But let's take a look at the recaps for the World Class. I'm going to try to go a little bit fast through these. We have three shows to go through, and then we're going to look at overall on the Core Clash app. So let's take a look here. All right. Making sure all the scores are above my head on the recording. So we have Bluecoats first place across the board. That's no surprise there. GE is 17.8 from both judges, 17.3 from Crown, 16.9 on this one, and 17.0 and 17.1. So 1/10 dividing Carolina Crown and Phantom Regiment. I think Phantom Regiment is going to bypass and go by Carolina Crown. I'm still not feeling the props. Those, I don't know what those things are. Those curved like panel thingies. I'm still not feeling it. I'm sure it's a different experience there live, and Jen has assured me it's way different live when you get to see it live. But for me, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about them yet. But okay, let's continue on score. So I'm getting sidetracked. So Spirit of Atlanta. Sorry, I get so sidetracked. Spirit of Atlanta, 30.7. So, and they're above Crossman here with a 30.4. So, as always, there's two G judges, so sometimes they flip them score-wise, but it looks like we're right down the ranking here. So let's scoot on over to visual proficiency. So 9.0. Wow. That's a really high score. You can get 10, maximum of 10. So 17.9, 17.6, 17.5, 15.5, 15.4, 15.2. Visual analysis, 17.5, 16.7, and 16.9 for Phantom Regiment, putting them in second place. And then Music City, look at this, 15.2 in fourth place. They march really well. They also sound really good too. So good job, Music City. Color Guard, 17.6 to a 16.9, and Phantom Regiment with a 17.2 put them into second place. Spirit of Atlanta, 14.6, so putting them in sixth place here. 15.2 for the Crossmen, and fifth place for Music City. So Brass, 17-6 to a 17-4. Carolina Crown played great. I think we've talked about it before. They played very, like, not perfectly, but you know what I mean, like very systematically. Not a lot of dynamic contrast. Even in their ballad, their ballad is really not super long, so you don't really get to hear the gorgeous sound and stuff like that too much. But very technical. They play very, very technically well. So really enjoyed that. Bluecoats, 17-6 here in music analysis, 17-1, 17-0, 15-7. So right down the rankings here. And then percussion, a 17-7, 17-1, 17-4, 16-3, 15-8, 15-2. So overall, for music, 26.450, 25.8, and then third place for Phantom Regiment with 25.6. I do agree with all this here. Carolina Crown is just technically great. But like I said, they do need to have more moments where they show the emotional, you know, crescendos, decrescendos, full sound, you know, big, beautiful, gorgeous, like releases and stuff like that. I'm really not getting that from this show because it's really not that kind of show. But overall, we have an 88.5, 85.6, 85.55. So my overall thoughts, I thought Bluecoats show was very interesting. They have a lot of cube colors and stuff like that. I'm not going to go too in depth with that because I'm going to be doing a reaction video. But I kind of agree with some comments where it's just like there's just too much going on with them. They really don't feature them like the bigger cubes the way that I think they should, but we'll talk about that on the reaction video. But overall, fantastic show. Next show is Albuquerque, New Mexico. So Mandarins, Blue Knights, Pacific Crest, Academy, and Seattle Cascades. Seattle Cascades are doing really well. I really like their show too. I actually enjoy pretty much everybody's shows this year. There's only a couple shows that I'm still on the fence about. Phantom Regiment's one of them in terms of their props, not them as you know, a core, but Seattle Cascades 71.65, Academy 74.3, Pacific Crest is 75.5, Blue Knights with an 80.3. So they're really Blue Knights are really moving up in terms of scoring, doing really, really well there. 84.150 for the Mandarins. That's a great score. They're right up there, right? About 5 points from the leader. Let's look at the recaps. Excuse my scrolling. Okay, and that's fine. We'll go right here. All right, so GE. So pretty much straight across the board, 16.5 to a 15.6, 14.8, 14.5. So right down the rankings here, 16.8, 16.3, 14.8, 14.7. So Pacific Crest and Academy kind of right there in the same realm of competition. 33.3 to a 31.9, 29.6 to a 29.2. Whoops, excuse me. Visual proficiency, 16.9 here to 16.1, 14.9. Academy over Pacific Crest with a 15.1. 16.5, 16.1. You guys can see the scores here. And then Color Guard, 16.9. Strong score, 15.8, 15.3, 15.0, 14.2. All right, so we're going to take a look at music. First caption is Brass, 17.5 for the Mandarins. Really good score. 16.1 for the Blue Knights, 15.1 for Pacific Crest, 15.2 for the Academy, and 14.6 for Cascade. So right down the ranking again. Music analysis, 16.8, 16.1, 15.4, 15.1. So once again, right down the rank. Nothing unexpected here. Music percussion is 17.1, really strong for the Mandarins. Great job there. 16.6, 15.6, 15.3, and a 14.6. So we already went over the scores, but 84.150, 80.3, 75.5, 74.3, 71.65. So we're going to see how they rank once we get to the Core Clash app. But let's go ahead and move over to our next show. All right, our next show is Brass Impact, Old Lathe, Kansas. This is where the three here, actually four technically. So Cavaliers, Blue Stars, and Troopers are all really tight in here. Colts are at 79.950. So Troopers are moved past them by a point in 1.2. But let's take a look at these scores. So we have an 82.2, 81.2, 81.050, so really close to the Blue Stars. I still haven't seen the Blue Stars show. I heard it's really cool, really fun, so I can't wait to see it. 79.5 to a 77.4 for the Madison Scouts. And then Spartans with the 70.9, so good job for the Spartans there. Open Class, the Battalion. I've enjoyed their shows the last couple of years that I've seen them, 67.3. I'm going to be trying to watch more Open Class as we get further along, and then also All Age when we get closer to that realm too. So let's look at the recaps for the World Class. Okay, so we have, like I said, it's really tight. We have a 32.8 overall GE, 32.5, 32.5. So within that, Blue Stars was they are out of this GE category here. So this GE judge here, C. Moss, gave to the Colts the win in GE for the 16-6 over the Cavaliers. And then they got fourth place from this judge. So kind of a contradiction there, fourth and first. But they overall tied here, and then they got a 32-6. So they got second place actually in visual, or GE. And they do have a lot of GE going on. Like I said, their uniforms, I like the core uniforms, but I wish they would have made the guard uniforms completely different. Or vice versa, one of the two. So there was some contrast there, but that's okay. I still think they're pretty darn good. So for visual, we have visual proficiency, Cavaliers with the 16.0, 15.7, 15.5, 15.6. So once again, Colts in visual. I do agree with that. 15.2 and 13.9 for the Spartans. For the visual analysis, 16.4, 16.1, and then Bluecoats in third, and then Troopers, and then Madison and Spartans. Kind of the same thing here. We have a 17.3, 16.8. Oh, I'm sorry, I misspoke. 16.9 for Color Guard. Sorry, Color Guard. That's the caption we're looking at. I get context as everything. 16.1, 15.8, and a 15.0. So really good Troopers, doing great job there. And their percussion's also really, really good too. So, all right. Last caption is music. Here we go. Music brass, 15.8 for the Cavaliers. They got third place. So 16.2 to the Blue Stars. They got first place. They have a great sound. I did actually hear a little snippet of their show, but I want to see the whole entire show from beginning to end. 16.0 for the Troopers. 15.1 for the Colts. And then, like I said, Cavaliers 15.8. 15.3, so Madison Scouts with a strong brass sound. And 14.3 for Spartans. So not far off Spartans. Music analysis, 16.7, 16.6. So right down the rankings here, 16.5, 16.2, 15.7, 13.9. Percussion, we'll start with Troopers, 17.0 for first place. 16.6 to a 16. Oh, sorry, to a 16.1 for the Colts. And then Blue Stars. And then Madison and Spartans. So overall, Cavaliers, Blue Stars, Troopers, Colts, Madison, and Spartans. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm going to switch over to the Core Clash app, so give me a moment. Let's take a look at all of the captions all grouped together. I really enjoy this app, so thank you to the developer who made this app. It's really cool. They get the scores up pretty darn fast right after the shows, and they get the recap sheets on here. So it's really cool because you get to see the rankings. Like if you've seen this my previous video, you get to see the rankings by the different categories, the different like brass, GE, visual, stuff like that, different captions. So let's start off with just overall 88.55 for the Bluecoats. Boston has not performed in 2 days. I think they're performing tomorrow. I think they're performing tomorrow. I think that's right. Let me look at the date. Yeah, I think it's tomorrow. So you might see that score change. Sorry, I moved the scores down there. 85.6 for Carolina Crown. They're holding on. Phantom Regiment, 85.5. Blue Devils have not performed in 3 days, so I think they don't perform until either tomorrow or the next night. I'm gonna have to look at their show schedule, but they're gonna have a few days off, so the scores might jump up a little bit into the 86 range. We'll see. And then we have Santa Clara Vanguard with an 85. So right now in the current rankings, it's Bluecoats, Boston, Carolina Phantom, Blue Devils, Santa Clara, and that's rounding out the top 6. Mandarins 7th place with an 84.150, and then we have Cavaliers with an 82.2. I feel like they're going to hang on to that. I think the Mandarins are going to keep progressing. They have some room to grow in their show. I think I don't know if they're going to be able to catch Santa Clara Vanguard. We're going to have to see once they're head-to-head, because Santa Clara hasn't performed in 3 days, and that score is going to be higher once they perform again. So we'll see kind of where everybody lies up. Now, it's really going to be in the DCI show this weekend. Is it this weekend? Let's look at the events. Yes, it's San Antonio. That's what I was thinking of. So San Antonio is where everybody's going to meet up for the very first time, and we're going to, of course, have our podcast right after this show, and we're going to be talking about all the shenanigans. But everybody's going to be there. You can see almost all the cores are there. I don't think there's anybody that's missing this. So definitely going to be real interesting to see where everybody truly lies, because they're going to be judged by the same judges under the same environment at the same time. So looking forward to that. So let's go back to rankings here. So Blue Stars, Troopers, kind of grouped together still. I don't know about Troopers show in comparison to Blue Stars, because I haven't seen Blue Stars yet. So I really want to see Blue Stars first before I make a comparison. But Colts are sliding down into 12th place. And I think, honestly, a lot of it is the uniform. So hopefully they can address that, because Blue Knights are moving up. And I think they're going to keep moving up because they have a really good show, really accessible show, fun, kids like it. And I think they're going to keep getting better and better and better. I do see the divide here, though, between 12th and 13th. It's a 2.5 point gap now. I don't know if there's any way to gain that back. It's possible if Madison has a surge like they did last year. But they're going to have to maybe make some changes. They're going to have to really push really hard. But you can see a lot of the cores in the 13, 14, 15, and 16s area are fairly close together. I mean, there's between 13th and 16th, there's a 2 point gap, but that can change. Music City, like I said, doing really, really well. Really like their show, 74.8. Academy, Genesis, and the Seattle Cascades. So I did watch Genesis. I thought they had a good show. I didn't get to watch it all, unfortunately, so that was kind of a bummer for me, but... All right, let's look at the different captions. I know I'm kind of running on time here, so I'll try to go fast through it. So GE so far, Bluecoats will once again, Boston has not performed in a couple days, so the scores I'm sure are going to even out. So it's really going to be between, I think, Bluecoats, Boston, first and second. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious at this point. Unless somebody makes a huge surge, I don't know how that's going to happen, but it could. Carolina Crown and Phantom and Blue Devils and Santa Clara kind of all within 0.3 of a point of each other. Even the Mandarins are right in that running there for GE. They have a lot of color, really colorful. I like the iridescence of those pipes that they use in the show. Let's go down to Cavaliers and Colts. And Troopers and Blue Stars are all grouped together. So basically the whole 8th through 12th are kind of grouped together within a 0.9 of each other in GE. That just really goes a testament to how good these shows really are now. I mean, they're designed so well. I mean, let's go down into the 13 through 20 spot. 28.4 is the lowest score. 28.4. The highest score is at 35. So it's only 7 points difference. That's not a lot of difference in the caption. I mean, I guess it technically can be. But from 1st to 20th, that's a pretty good. So that just, shows how good these groups are with show design now. Let's look at music. So we get a 26.55 to a 26.45. So Boston's still holding on, even though they haven't performed in 2 days. And that score is going to go up at least at probably like 0.4 of a point. Santa Clara, 25.85. So right there in the 3rd place position over Carolina Crown. I don't know. I think Carolina Crown's music is really, really good. And then once again, they haven't competed head-to-head. And Santa Clara hasn't competed in 3 days, so that score could also be higher. They could be towards the Bluecoats realm. So, and then Mandarins in 5th place with music over Phantom Regiment. Blue Devils, once again, they haven't performed in 3 days. They won't perform for a couple days. Troopers, Cavaliers, Blue Stars, Blue Knights, Spirit of Atlanta in 12th place in music. So good for them. Good for them. And then 13 through 20, we can see the scores here are in the 23s, and then 22, and then it drops down to the 21s. So once again, 21 points. It's only 5 points in music, so not a huge jump. I know there's, within every point, there's 10 points, so I totally get that. And music's a little bit different because it's less range, so I totally get that. But still, Oh, wrong one. Visual, 26.5 to a 25.950. And then Phantom Regiment right behind them with the 25.8. Crown is tied with Blue Devils, and once again, Blue Devils have not performed. Santa Clara, same thing. Their scores are going to go up. Mandarins with a 25.15. Cavies with a 24.85. Whoops, sorry. Blue Stars at 24.3. Down to, and it looks like Troopers slipped just a little bit there with the 23.8. I don't know why. Maybe it's just competition that day. And then Colts with the 23.650. And then Madison Scouts with the 23. And then we're in the 22s here and down to 21. So let's take a look at guard. Bluecoats and Boston both dropped in score a little bit, which is interesting. Now they're tied with 17.6, 17.6. Cavaliers went up a half of a point to a 17.3. Blue Devils have been at 17.3 for a few days. And then we have Phantom Regiment with a 17.2. So it's kind of anybody's game in this realm here. We're only 0.4 away from Phantom to the top there. Troopers with a 16.9, a really strong guard this year. Thank goodness they got that caption going really well this year. Carolina Crown with a 16.9. So Troopers and Carolina Crown, same guard score. So interesting. Same with Mandarins. Look, 16.9. And Mandarins actually went down 0.4, which is interesting. Because they would have been tied with Blue Devils here. So really interesting score. Okay, so Blue Stars with the 16.8. Santa Clara with the 16.8. So Santa Clara in 9th place in color guard. 16.1, and then Madison Scouts rounding out the top 12 with the 15.8. And then also Blue Knights, so they're kind of tied there. Pacific Crest, Music City, Spirit of Atlanta with the 14.6. Genesis 14.2. So once again, a 14 to a 17. So 3 points difference. Not a huge, gigantic leap. So that's why it's so volatile this year. Like from GE and music and stuff like that, everybody's kind of in the same realm, and I think it helps that they start so much later because they come out really, really strong. All right, let's look at percussion real quick. 17.7 to a 17.6. Phantom Regiment right up there with the 17.4. Carolina Crown 17.1, dropping a tenth of a point. Mandarins with the 17.1, so everybody's kind of within that realm there. Troopers with the 17.0. Santa Clara with the 17.0. Interesting. So, but once again, they haven't performed in 3 days. So when they come back, they could be a 17.5. Who knows? Cavaliers 16.6, Blue Knights 16.6. So everybody right here is grouped together for percussion. So Blue Devils, Blue Knights, and Cavaliers all grouped together with percussion. Blue Devils dropping 0.2, but they haven't performed in 3 days. Spirit of Atlanta with 16.3 and 16.1, and then Blue Stars with the 16, Crossman with the 15.8, and then we're in the 15s here, and then 14s. All right, well, that's all the scores in the recaps. I'm gonna have to cut a lot of this out because I'm at 27 minutes right now, so we're gonna cut this down. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Please make sure you visit our YouTube page and support us. We would really, really appreciate that. And you can see all of our videos there and playlists. We have podcasts. You can also see our podcast and listen to our podcast on YouTube Music. If you just search for Marching Arts Network, you will be able to find our podcast. You can listen in your car, all kinds of other stuff. So got some ghosting going on this side over here. But thank you guys so much for joining me. Really do appreciate it. We'll see you on the next video, which is coming really, really soon. But until then, you know exactly what you need to do, when you have, and how to do it. So just march on. Thank you.